Hello once again, everyone. Tuesday evening's weather for Weather Geeks video. Nice looking afternoon out there today. We had lots of sunshine as expected. It was a little bit on the chilly side, but I'll tell you, when it's sunny and the wind is relatively calm at this time of the year, it really adds a lot to what the actual temperature is. The sun is as strong now as it is at the very end of September and the first couple of days of October. And with that clear sky this afternoon, had a really nice shot from our low orbiting high-res satellite here of course, Lake Erie, northern Ohio, northwestern PA. Some cumulus clouds did bubble up for a time right around midday. That's what you see here. This, of course, is ice cover on Lake Erie, and that ice cover is waning rather quickly. We were still in the 80s, about 85% ice coverage on Lake Erie yesterday. Haven't seen the fresh number yet today, but I imagine it's down into the 70s. And that process of the ice shriveling will certainly continue for the next couple of days with the warming trend that we have coming our way. Here's a look at the Great Lakes as a whole. A lot of Lake Michigan ice-free right now, with the exception of some fringes here on the southern end and the northern end. Lake Erie is easily the most shallow Great Lake, so it always has the most ice and the thickest ice. Superior still doing pretty well. Of course, that's the farthest north Great Lake, so you get a lot of ice up there. Ontario is the deepest Great Lake, and so ice coverage is usually fairly minimal on Lake Ontario. All right, we hit 41 earlier on today at the Youngstown Warren Airport, and that was pretty much par for the course across the region today. Lower middle 40s, just a shade below the average. All right, I want to start talking about this big storm system out across the middle of the country. This is going to be a doozy. Might even set some pressure records for this time of the year. Lowest pressure records will be challenged, I think, across the middle of the country with this storm just basically exploding over the next couple of days, and blizzard warnings are in effect from Denver on north and east through Rapid City up towards Bismarck as well. Lots of winter storm watches and warnings in that area as well. And of course, as this storm deepens, it'll produce a ton of wind, and high wind warnings are out from Albuquerque and El Paso on through Lubbock and Amarillo and up towards Oklahoma City, Wichita, Dodge City as well. Farther to the east, the concern will become severe weather because humidity is on the rise. The dew points are coming up in the lower Mississippi and Valley and the southern plains, and that will create a threat for some heavy gusty thunderstorms on Wednesday into Wednesday night in places such as Little Rock and maybe up towards Memphis into the Houston area as well. And then all that shifts east on Thursday and catches parts of the lower Ohio Valley. So there is a risk for a few strong thunderstorms in places such as Indianapolis and Louisville and Cincinnati. And maybe even a couple of gusty storms might try to sneak into central Ohio as well. I'm not real concerned about severe weather around here, although we might hear a clap of thunder Thursday night. Our storm system kind of in its embryonic stage right now. Not much to look at, but this, as it emerges from the Rockies, it's going to just explode. You'll see tons and tons of isobars around this thing on the weather maps tomorrow and into the day on Thursday as well. Tornado watch in far southern Texas along the cold front this evening. All right, although we'll see an increase in clouds here late tonight. Hopefully those high cirrus clouds will remain thin enough that we'll get a good look at the space station tomorrow morning. This is a really good pass, really bright. At about 5 minutes until 7, it'll appear in the northwestern sky and disappear in the southeastern sky about 6 minutes later, reaching its maximum elevation of 82 degrees above the horizon. A lot of times in the winter we don't post much about the space station, and the space station doesn't follow a regular schedule. There sometimes weeks go by in which the space station does not fly over our location, and then we go through stretches where it flies by a couple of times a day. But this is the first time I've really mentioned the space station in a while, and this is a really good pass tomorrow morning at 6:55. Just a reminder, if you're new to checking out the space station, it'll be a fairly quick moving spot of light moving across. It does not blink. Airplanes, when you see airplanes, they're blinking, but the space station does not blink. It is just a white light about the size of a pretty bright star that moves across the sky, and humans up there on that thing. It is a low orbiting satellite just above the top of Earth's atmosphere. All right, clouds increase late tonight. It's going to be a cloudier day tomorrow, but I think there'll be a little dim sun behind those high cirrus clouds. No rain tomorrow, and then rain chances return to the forecast on Thursday. A couple of chances for wet weather here. During the daylight hours Thursday, there could probably be a shower at just about any point. Overall, the highest concentration of wet weather is probably going to be Thursday evening into the overnight with the first of two cold fronts. Now, this first front is not much more than a wind shift. Not really much cold air behind this front. but showers, maybe a rumble of thunder. Now, the second front comes through on Friday, and that's what has the significantly chillier air behind it. We'll probably reach our high Friday early afternoon instead of late afternoon, and then temperatures will start falling, and we'll be back in kind of a somewhat wintry pattern, I think, as we head into the upcoming weekend. All right, as far as how much rain to expect, with our system Thursday into Thursday night, not sure what the NAM is doing here, showing nothing. That seems out of touch. There will be some rain in just about every location. I think a good average would be a quarter to a half an inch worth of rain. Now, behind the front, I mentioned, it's kind of a wintry pattern over the weekend. That doesn't mean like the dead of winter. It doesn't mean a lot of snow's coming. There could be a flurry Saturday. That's about it as far as any snowflakes. It's just going to be cooler than average, not only over the weekend, but into the first half of next week as well. That being said, we'll bust out of that chillier pattern, I think, by the end of next week, and the 8 to 14 day period here, which, since today is the 12th, this basically is from the 20th through about the 24th, 26th. That's a period in which I don't see a lot of chilly weather heading our way. Temperatures will average out, I think, a handful of degrees warmer than par for the second half of March. So some good news there. And again, I've been mentioning this a few times lately, that the end of March and the whole month of April should be a fair amount warmer than last year. Remember, we had really chilly mid-spring last year. I'm not expecting a repeat this year. Tomorrow on Weather for Weather Geeks, I'll have an update on our rain and the weekend forecast and much more. A little reminiscing tomorrow, I think, about the blizzard of 1993, a red letter day in Youngstown weather history, March 13th, 1993. It's the 26-year anniversary of that storm, which brought us over a foot worth of snow back in March of 1993. So I'll talk a little bit about that tomorrow night. All right, thanks for watching, everyone. Have a great Tuesday night.